Have you ever wondered if you have to go pricey or whether you can go for a cheap set of ND filters you've just found online? Today I'm going to be testing a set I found on eBay and seeing if I can create that kind of cinematic feel using them on the DJI Avata 2. Hello and welcome to another episode of FPVOE. My name is Emmanuel. So today I am going to be testing out some cheap ND filters I bought on eBay. As much as I love DJI, I did not want to spend £60 on a pair of sunglasses for my drone, especially when my sunglasses don't cost any more than £5. I was not going to be buying them. So I went online and found some cheap filters. I say cheap, they were £20 on eBay, and I'm going to be putting them to the test and seeing if they can match up to the kind of quality you'd expect from more expensive ND filters, such as the ones DJI sell. So what are ND filters? ND filters are basically like sunglasses for your drone. They basically reduce the amount of light that's coming in, which means that you can slow down your shutter speed. Slower shutter speeds allow you to create that kind of more cinematic feel, as opposed to having the image being really kind of crisp and jittery, which you can see in some of the footage I'm about to show you. So I'm going to be recording a few scenarios. I'm going to be flying in auto without the ND filter so you can see what it looks like naturally. I'm going to be flying in auto with the ND filter so you can see what the camera does and how it works if you just put an ND filter on and you didn't want to mess around with camera settings. And then finally, I'm going to be doing one shot where I'm going to be flying with the camera settings in full manual and obviously with the ND filter, and showing the kind of real kind of benefits you can get from using an ND filter, and seeing if these ND filters will actually be able to give you that same cinematic feel that you would get if you were to purchase more high-end ones. Right, so first up, I'm flying this one in auto mode with no ND filter. As you can see, the image does look nice, it is good, and this is how I've been recording all my sort of footage to date. But if you look closely, you can see that especially during quick movements or when you're near the ground, you can see how everything looks a bit choppy. That's because the shutter speed is like really high and it's trying to stop every single thing. It's kind of like almost trying to capture every single little bit of detail and show it into the image. I mean, this sort of image is good for, I guess, clarity, but if you want to create that kind of cinematic motion blur experience where like things look like they're whooshing by you, this isn't really what you want. But obviously, as I say, this is kind of the footage I've been using to date. This is how I've been recording all my footage, but I've noticed it on my videos that sometimes you can just see that kind of sharpness. It's almost like a digital sharpness as it's going by, especially, as I say, when you're nearer the ground. Now, here's pretty much the exact same flight path. I've left the camera in auto, but I say this time I've put on an ND16 filter. You can already see if I freeze it, there's a bit more motion blur being shown in the picture. I mean, the camera's had to slow down the shutter speed because there's less light hitting the sensor. It's definitely an improvement. It's not perfect, but you can already see immediately that if you didn't want to mess around with camera settings, you could just leave it as this and just pop an ND filter on it. The problem you'd have with this, I guess, is that the ISO may jump up and down as it moves around, or it may change the shutter rate, so that your image might kind of differ as you're flying around, because the camera will obviously in auto and it'll be trying to change the footage to make sure it's doing the right thing it thinks you want to see and record. Right, now on this one, this is where I'm going to be using, as I say, full manual camera settings. I will pop them on the screen so you can see exactly what I'm using. I'm also recording, as I say, in D-Log-M, so that is basically kind of like a very flat color profile, which means you do the post color grading when you're editing it. So obviously you can see here it looks a lot more vibrant. That's because I've put the saturation up on it quite high. When you're using this though, you need to make sure you lock your ISO manually. As I say, if you leave it in auto, your ISO could be jumping up and down, but you want to lock your ISO, as long as the lighting allows it, as low as possible, and kind of set your shutter rate to double the frame rate is kind of what they say. So if you're recording at 60 frames per second, then you'd want it at 120. If you're recording at 30 frames per second, then you'd want it at 60. But immediately you can see that everything just looks like it's a lot smoother, it looks faster, and it just looks a lot nicer. So if you're capturing some really kind of good footage, or you're flying down a beach, or you're flying down a mountain or something, this is kind of footage you'd want to capture. It just gives that kind of like fast-paced, blurred motion action kind of shot, and it just looks a lot neater on the eye, I would say. So here again is a side-by-side comparison One is the original footage I shot with no ND filter in auto. As I say, the image is good, but as you can see already on the grass, if you look at it, you can see how it's just kind of like has that kind of digital sharpness that it's showing there. Whereas on the other one, you can see the blur on it. It's a bit more of an exciting footage that you've got. Obviously, as I say, the color is slightly different. That's because I shot in DLG and I then color graded it myself, which obviously I do need a bit of work on. But you can immediately see the footage itself is just that much nicer. So, do cheap ND filters work? Yes, I think you can clearly see by using them the kind of footage you're getting from it, and they are well worth the investment. So now I'm going to be using these in all my future videos just to try and get that more of a cinematic feel and a bit more exciting when I'm flying around with it. If you've got ND filters or any other brands you recommend, or if you're enjoying the content, please remember to click like and subscribe and hit the bell so you'll be notified when I have my next videos come out. They'll hopefully be looking a lot better now. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time on FPV OE.